Okay, let's talk about immigration in America. It's a pretty intense topic, right? A real firestorm. And smack in the middle of that storm, you've got this one federal agency, ICE. So today, we're going to cut through all the noise. We'll look at the data, the deep divisions, and the very real human stories behind this whole controversy. Ready? Let's get into it. So, to really understand just how divided things are, we're going to zoom in on one single event. It was all caught on video, millions of people saw it, and, well, it pretty much brought this whole debate to a boiling point. Yeah, can one video really split a country in two? That question got a very real answer after an ICE agent fatally shot a woman in Minneapolis, Renee Good. The whole thing was filmed, it went viral, and suddenly it felt like everyone in the country had to pick a side.
And people definitely picked a side. A Quinnipiac University poll asked voters who saw that video what they thought, and a clear majority, 53% of them, came to the same conclusion. They said the shooting was not justified.
But here's where it gets really wild. The devil is in the details, right? When you look at the breakdown by political party, the divide is just stunning. You have 77% of Republicans saying, yep, justified, while a whopping 92% of Democrats said it was not. It's like looking at a perfect political mirror image of each other. Totally opposite views. So that brings us to the big question. What is IC? Who is this agency at the very center of the storm? Especially for all of you watching from outside the US, let's do a quick breakdown of what this organization is and what it actually does. Okay, so the full name is U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. But honestly, nobody calls it that. It's just ICE. And their job, in a nutshell, they're the federal agency in charge of enforcing immigration laws inside the United States. That means finding, arresting, detaining, and deporting immigrants who are in the country without legal permission. And listen to this. The scale of their operations has absolutely skyrocketed. To give you some perspective, under the Biden administration, ICE was making about 300 arrests a day on average. Now, that number has shot up to an average of 2,000 a day. And the White House's target is even higher. They're aiming for 3,000 arrests daily. So how do you get to those kinds of numbers? Well, you hire more people. A lot more people. The agency has launched this massive recruitment drive. I'm talking multi-million-dollar TV ad campaigns, and they're even offering signing bonuses of up to $50,000 to bring in new agents. Okay, so let's get into the numbers. Who is actually being detained in these massive operations? The data paints a pretty interesting picture. You know, a lot of people assume that these operations are all about targeting violent criminals, right? The most dangerous people. But is that what's really happening? Let's see what the data says. And this is fascinating. The answer is pretty clear. A massive 73%. That's nearly 3 out of every 4 people detained by ICE have no criminal conviction at all. 0. And as for violent criminals, they make up just 5% of the total. And, you know, these aren't just statistics on a chart. Behind every number, there's a human cost. It's so important to understand the real-world impact these actions have on families and whole communities. Check out this number, 4.1 million. That's how many kids who are U.S. citizens live with at least one parent who is undocumented. So every single time there's an enforcement action, there's a very real risk that these kids could be separated from their parents. We're talking about something that can cause just profound and lasting trauma. And get this, it's not just undocumented immigrants who are affected. This might be one of the most shocking parts of this whole thing. The system isn't perfect, and there are documented cases where actual U.S. citizens have been mistakenly detained and sometimes even deported from their own country. Yeah, you heard that right. This tension really bubbles up at the local level. For example, after a bunch of big raids in her city, the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, came out and said, look, these actions don't make us safer. Her point was that they just create fear and break down the trust between the community and the police. So you've got this clash, right? Federal policy on one side and what local communities are feeling on the other. And it has absolutely exploded into this huge, fierce national debate that's basically splitting the country right down the middle. Just take a look at the approval ratings for ICE. It's that exact same political divide we saw earlier with the shooting video, just on a different topic. You've got 84% of Republicans who approve of what ICE is doing, and then on the flip side, 94% of Democrats disapprove.
I mean, it is really hard to find another issue where people are this divided along party lines. And this isn't just something you see in opinion polls. This division is literally spilling out onto the streets. In cities like LA, you see huge protests breaking out. Demonstrators are confronting police, and you can hear them chanting, demanding an end to all ICE operations in their neighborhoods. And for a lot of people, just trying to reform the agency isn't going to cut it anymore. All this controversy has supercharged a movement that, honestly, used to be on the political fringe. Now you have activists, organizers, and even some politicians who are pushing for a much more radical idea. Get rid of ICE completely. Abolish it. So where does that leave us? I think the big takeaway here is that this whole debate is no longer just about arrest numbers or policy details. It's become something much bigger. It's really a fundamental fight over what kind of country the United States wants to be. And when a nation is this divided, the path forward, well, it's anything but certain.